Okay everyone, welcome to the channel. So I'm about to go on a generational sprint and I will be launching the Order Flow Price Action Labs series, right? So these series or this video or the next 20 videos are only going to be for the following people. Those who are interested in learning order flow and those who have a strategy that feels incomplete. So if you're one of those two people, you can stay. If you're not, feel free to click off this video. So I just want to set a few things straight. So order flow is not a strategy. Order flow is a tool that can be used in conjunction with almost any strategy, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that order flow isn't something you can add for fun. It's almost a necessity if you want to trade, especially if you want to day trade on the intraday or lower time frames. There's no way you can predict accurate entries with just by predicting candles. You need to know what's happening inside them. And the third thing is that order flow itself is not really an indicator or a tool or anything like that, right? Order flow needs to be used in a system. So order flow will not make you profitable. Order flow will help with your executions, and you need an entire system to make this work. And so this series will cover everything A to Z. So let's dive into exactly what I mean by order flow, right? So I want you to have your notepad and pen, and we're going to dive into what order flow actually means. So we're going to start with a very basic definition. So it's important to get these definitions correct as we start to move forward, right? So order flow is the real time, and that's the key word or key phrase there. Order flow is the real time analysis of buy and sell orders entering the market, right? So there are two types of orders, and we're going to go into that in future videos and this video. We have aggressive players and we have passive players. And so you've seen on a lot of my videos and content is that there are two types of charts we have in the markets, right? So we have the candlestick chart and we have the order flow footprint charts, right? So the top is obviously a candlestick chart, the bottom is the footprint charts. And so what you want to understand is that there are numbers inside of candles that you need to read if you want to responsibly trade, right? So there isn't any other system that can give you the level of clarity that order flow does, right? So again, it's simply buy and sell orders in real time. And this is something I want to stress as well. If you're day trading on the 1 minute time frame, the 3 minute time frame, the 5 minute time frame, it's important for you to actually understand what's going on in all those time frames in the now. So I've had conversations with people recently. They look at higher time frame bias, they look at the daily time frame, they look at the weekly levels, they look at what happened last week, and they draw up a support and resistance, and they do all these things without understanding that in trading, the most important time frame is the now time frame. So if you're not in the now time frame, then you're not in any time frame to actually make money. So I record this in March of 2026 during times of chop, right? So choppy markets. The order flow is the only way that you can predict what's going to happen at your key levels. And so I'm going to repeat that. Order flow is the only way you can predict what's going to happen at your key levels. Because order flow, like I said at the start, isn't a strategy. Order flow is the real-time analysis of buy and sell orders entering the market. And so it's the interaction between aggressive and passive participants, right? That is what you need to read if you're looking for moves, right? There's no two ways about that. So if you disagree with that, again, please click off the video now. So let's quickly go over this. So order flow is not some new strategy, right? Order flow is not a strategy. Order flow is not the holy grail. You'll still take losses. You'll still get in chop, right? You'll still do dumb things. Order flow will not help your psychology. It's not a way of even predicting the market. And it's certainly not an indicator. It's not a bot, and it's not an algo, right? Order flow, as I said, comes back to this basic definition. It is the real-time analysis of buy and sell orders entering the market at your key levels. So it's not a strategy. It's not a way of predicting the market. It's not an indicator. It's not an algo, or it's not a bot, right? But we're just going to go over basic first principles. So order flow is a study of how aggressive orders interact with limit orders. I'm just going to say that again. So if the market gives you a key level, so let's say a price comes into a key level, right? You need to know whether that key level is going to be a bullish key level or a bearish key level. And so the whole of trading can simply come down to these two orders, right? Aggressive market orders interact with limit orders. And so how do we know who is aggressive? In this case, who is passive, right? So we're going to go back to the previous slide. So order flow basically comes down to these numbers. So trading candlesticks alone is, I often say, that's the closest thing to gambling, right? Because what you're effectively doing is you are trying to predict the markets, right? You cannot predict the markets with your prop firm account or with $10,000 or $15,000. You cannot predict the market no matter who you are and what you do. You can only react to what the market is doing. So instead of trying to predict candles with any strategy you have, take whatever existing system you have, just put order flow on top of it and actually see what the limit orders are doing, right? What are the aggressive orders doing, right? So these numbers here, they are aggressive orders. And I'm going to make videos on this in the future as to how the order flow actually works. But for now, we want to understand basic first order, basic first principles, right? So order flow is the study of aggressive market orders interacting with limit orders. And we're going to, in this training, we are going to dive into exactly what that means. So here we have the ATAS. This is the ATAS platform, and this is my preferred platform of choice. For those who are interested in looking at footprint charts, right, this is what they look like. So we have our regular candlestick chart. So if I just go down now to a 5-minute chart, this is the 5-minute chart. Of day of recording, price was extremely choppy. But what we can see over here, when we kind of dive in, we see a whole different world, right? This is what I want to introduce traders to, right? So this is the footprint charts, and footprint charts are not the same as candlestick charts. They are derived from candlestick charts. So let's kind of dive into what this is, but we're going to go over our basic definitions with order flow as well. So if we just start off with what was the basic definition, right? So our basic definition, order flow is the real-time analysis of buyers and sellers. And so I want to tell you one thing, right? If whatever psychology problems you have, order flow will fix that. Because you can trade the charts however you like, right? You can literally trade the charts however you like. So again, this is Nasdaq on the 15-minute time frame. And so what you can see over here, for example, I trade primarily key levels based off 15-minute zones or 15-minute fair value gaps. Now, the way that I get around that, the way that I do that in my trading is like this. So if I just kind of bring Nasdaq to a way that you can see it, it looks kind of like this. So if I take this zone over here, this is a 15-minute FVG, so I'll just take the candle before. So I'll do something like this. So what you'll see with order flow is you're not looking to use the order flow everywhere. You're only looking to read the order flow inside of certain areas, if that makes sense, right? So it is, again, and we're going to go back to our definition over here. Order flow is the real-time analysis of buy and sell orders entering the market. So for example, and we're going to go into this as the series goes on. Let's say we have a key level like this, right? Just randomly, I don't trade NQ or NQ futures, but when price comes into a key level like this, we see the candles don't actually predict anything, right? So you're not looking for a sweep or a breaker structure. You're not looking for any of those concepts, because what really happens here, right? Let's break this down. If you look for a breaker structure here, right? Let's say that's your break. The move has happened here, and you have no idea that you wanted to enter as the move was happening, right? So this is what we mean by the now time frame, right? It is the real time analysis of buy and sell orders, right? So again, you can take whatever strategy you want and just put order flow on, right? This is the order flow itself. So if we again break down what this means, this is how an order flow platform looks like. So again, what are we seeing here? What's going on inside? So I'm going to make a separate order flow series videos on exactly what this means and how you can use it. But just for basic knowledge for this video over here, inside of the candles is we have these numbers, right? So we have these numbers all throughout the candle. Every candle has these numbers. Now, it is your job to read the numbers, and it's your job to understand what this means over here, right? It's not the candles that give you the data. It is the actual order flow of the buyers and sellers that make up the candle, right? So you want to understand order flow is not a strategy by itself. It's not the holy grail, right? It's not a way of predicting the markets either. You need to have a system behind that, right? And it's not an indicator. So again, what you want to understand is that order flow is simply giving you supply and demand zones, right? That's the only thing order flow is actually responsible for, right? Order flow is responsible for giving you supply and demand zones, right? That's the only thing order flow is responsible for. So once you understand that, right, you can begin to kind of position your trades, right? So for example, this turned out to be a supply zone. I'm going to make future videos on this. This turned out to be a supply zone. And for example, if we have a demand zone, it would look something like this. So again, I'm just choosing these out of thin air. I just want you to get the point. So for example, this is a 15-minute zone. If I mark this out like this here acts as a demand zone right over here. So when we kind of dive into the candles, there are specific things you can look at because you don't know that this is actually going to be a reaction higher. So the mistake traders make is that they try and predict the markets through ego instead of trying to actually react to what the markets are doing and trading in that direction. That, I promise you, will make your trading a lot easier in the long run, right? Being able to predict price action instead of being able to react to price action that's happening in front of you, as opposed to sitting there blind and trying to predict it, right? Because fair value gaps don't mean anything. So in 2026, fair value gaps don't mean anything. Sweeps don't mean anything. Nothing means anything, right? All you're looking for is, the real. So I'm going to finish on this definition. You are looking for a real time analysis of buyers and sellers, right? And that is applicable only from the order flow footprint charts. So that kind of concludes the first sort of series, right, for order flow. So over the next few days, I'm going to be releasing tons and tons of new content, specifically going over how to use footprint charts, how to set up your charts, how to actually build a system around trading with order flow, right? So you can take any potential system that works and just add order flow onto it. So I'm going to be breaking down exactly in the days and weeks to come how you can do that effectively.